Good afternoon, everybody. Grateful to be with us here at ULT San Diego for the Aquarian series. Tonight, the title of the presentation is Irreversibility, and that will be given us by Miluka R. McCloskey.
Hello, friends. Thank you again for being here. And like I say, greetings of the season. This is a very special time of the year. We're going to try to make it very special this afternoon. I am from transmitting from California, and on behalf of the San Diego Lodge, ULT San Diego Lodge. And we're going to start. I see that a lot of people are coming in, so I'm going to take a few minutes before we do the Gayatri Mantra because it's going to be very special. And it's all the way. Our guest is Chikart Agnihotri. I hope I pronounced it correct. And he's going to do the song of Gayatri Mantra in Sanskrit. So maybe I'm going to say a couple of other things. What I'm trying to, this is a very challenging assignment, I could say, for the fact that the many angles that you can deal with in many different levels. I mean, it's wonderful because it has room in different directions, but for sure it was an enigma for many years, and I'm going to have clips that is going to show corroboration of HPV teachings and the latest on the science, chemistry, and how the topic of today, irreversibility, connects with it. And that's vindicating her because, as you know, she did this writing in the 1800s when science was not as advanced that it is right now, and it still have a long way to go. But she did predict it, that eventually science will catch up, but they don't have all the information, except that we have one brilliant scientist, so we're going to see shortly, that is also a philosopher, and he found some answers. I guess we can start with the Gayatri Mantra by Chit Hart, and welcome again.
Good evening and season's greetings to everyone. Belated Christmas and Happy New Year from Adyar. And thank you for giving me this opportunity to share the Gayatri Mantra. And although Miluka will be sharing few things about it, just a few points about that is Gayatri Mantra is also called Savitri, as in the slide you can see. Basically, Gayatri is the meter in which it is sung. And why is it called Savitri? Is because although we read that it is addressed to sun, but it is addressed to the spiritual sun, the spirit of the sun. The physical body of the sun, just like our physical body, is what we see in the sky. But this mantra is addressed to the spirit of the sun, that is called Savita, which will come in the mantra, the word Savitur. So it is addressed to that. And it is also called the mother of all Vedas. And it is a mantra from Rig Ved. And it has tremendous beneficial effects when chanted, not only for the person who is chanting, but for the people in front of the person. So I'll be chanting, as I said before, the full version of the mantra, which includes all 7 planes or 7 bodies or 7 levels of consciousness that we read about, and so that it has an effect on all those levels. Om Bhu Om Bhuvah Om Suvah Om Maha, Om Janaha, Om Tapaha, Om Satyam, Om Tat Saviturvarenyam, Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi, Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat. Om Apo Jyotirasो Amritam Brahma Bhurbhuva Suvarom. Thank you.
Thank you. Namaste. As you see, the Gayatri Mantra, lovely expressed and sung, is an expression of gratitude to both the life-giving Son and the Divine. It boosted devotee taking a heart-centered approach to the mantra. The sensibility it awakens is more significant than the literary meaning. It is an offering, a way to open grace, to inspire oneself. In this sacred season of love, family, unity, brotherhood, joy, and new beginnings and resolution, we are invited to think of the divine resonance, heard by mystics as the music of the spheres, and of Brahma Bach, the primordial latent sound and light of Parabrahma. Of all of the many synonyms of Theosophia, Brahma Bach, more than any other, signifies transmission from metaphysics to modality, potential to potency, silence to speech. And this quote was from the a talk given by the International Convention of the Theosophical Society NIR in India many years ago. Regarding this theme of irreversibility, as I mentioned before, there's so many different aspects that you can cover. It's very broad and very, very important. The term universal brotherhood is not idle phrase. Humanity in the mass have a paramount claim upon us. It is the only secure foundation for universal morality. If it will be a dream, it is at least a noble one for mankind. And it is the aspiration of the true adept, quote from Mahatma Letters. Now, there are several quotes from the Aquarian Almanac, lovely, all of them. So I'm going to try to touch in some of this because there are many ideas. For instance, we talk about aspiration already, idealism, resolve by new resolutions for the upcoming new years, irreversible fidelity within oneself, devotion, aspiration, self-sacrifice, selfless work leads to self-knowledge. I follow the religion of love, devotion, all these great quotes for this wonderful author and beings that have worked for the cause of theosophy. We're going to take all of those in consideration as we go along. Now, as far as we can discern, the sole purpose of human existence is to kindle a light of meaning in the darkness of mere being. Carl Jung. The cycle of the year among the Asian people have always considered to be a symbol of the life of man, or indeed of the life of the universe. Birth at the winter solstice, the beginning of the year, trials and their conquest, an initiation in man and nature starting from December 21st to January 14th. That's the time of trials and initiation in high levels in other realms. The solstice that just happened a few days ago, last week, we have the solstice. And as you know, nature have a clock. And every year around the same time, it repeats itself. The celestial procession occurrence is of great significance in most religions and cultures as the day with the shortest period of daylight and the longest night of the year. For the Northern Hemisphere, this year's winter solstice happened on the December 21st, being the longer, darkest night of the year, as I mentioned, calling us for what? Stillness, to hibernate, just like the animals do in a sense, but within, and to follow the rhythm of nature and quietness. Man is ill because he's never still. In every human being, there is a special heaven whole and unbroken, said Paracelsus. The 4 points or cardinal of the wheel of life by the sun in his journey through the heavens. The solstices and equinoxes have been observed as sacred in many cultures and antiquity. Each season brings a lesson to be learned and guide us toward the spiral of evolution of humanity, which is irreversible. At the solstice, the sun's path appears the farthest north or south, depending on which half of the planet you are on. Seasons change on Earth because the planet is slightly tilted on its axis, and as it travels around the sun. Now, in my last talk, A Spiritual Sun, about a year ago or so, I mentioned some corroboration of HPV and science regarding the sun, and they're getting closer to what she wrote, but they're getting some things right. And one of the things they can still answer is why the Earth is tilted. But according to the teachings of Theosophy, it's tilted because from the Lemurian time, maybe some of you don't know what Lemurian is, was the first race that appeared on Earth after they have the enlightening of manners. They committed a lot of sins against nature, against themselves, and that created a lot of unbalance, and the Earth lost the equilibrium. So that science and archaeology can find any physical evidence of that, because there was a volcano, and then the sky was covered for so many years that it became the first age of humanity, according to HPV. And it was, of course, the island went down, so it sank. Obviously, she said that someday science is going to realize that a lot of the history of humanity is under the ocean. And in fact, not too long ago, there was a documentary of geography, and they said that by the Atlantic Ocean, around the Bermuda Triangle, that was another mystery, they found a lot of artifacts and things that pretty much describe some of the things that Plato talked about it regarding the Atlanteans. So that's another corroboration from the HPV mentioned that, and she mentioned, Plato. To send light into the darkness of man's heart, such is the duty of the artist. That was Robert Schumann. Most Native Americans celebrate with ceremonies the sacredness of every season and are the steward of the Mother Earth Gaia. The Native American Hopi elders, who predicted a lot of things that happen, including that someday man will go to the moon, that we're going to have a web that will connect humanity, all that is happening. When the heart of the Hopi land trust is dug up, great disturbances will develop in the balance of nature. For the Hopi, Holy Land is the microcosm symbol of the entire planet. Any violation of nature in the Four Corners region Arizona, Colorado, New Mexico, and Utah will be reflected and amplified all over the earth. They have a lovely prayer that is much longer than that, but just to get an idea. O great spirit, whose voice I hear in the wind, and whose breath give life, hear me. As I light the flame of love, I honor the Waboom, the East, the eagle, place of birth, illumination, and inspiration. And that's right now where we are. The clock of nature is pointing that new reverse for us, internal reverse. What does the god Janus represent? The new year? In ancient religion and myth, Janus is the god of beginnings, gates, transition, time, duality, doorways, passages, frames, and endings. It's usually depicted as having two faces. The opposed faces might indicate the past and future, wholeness, the union of priest and monarch. The month of January is named for Janus. January is Janus. A Roman god worship possibly predates the foundation of Rome. He is depicted as the holder of the keys of heaven in his right hand and the weapon called halberd in the other. Helena P. Blavatsky states that Janus is the source of the later role of St. Peter as the keeper of the gates of heaven with his key, according to Christianity. Janus was the head of the 12 gods, while St. Peter was also the head of the 12 apostles. The statue of Janus has 12 stars at its feet, symbolizing the 12 signs of the zodiac, the 12 great gods, the 12 months of the solar year, and the 12 apostles of the Son Christ. Janus presided over the 4 seasons. Peter presided over the 4 evangelists. See, everything is connected. As you know, every religion borrows from others, and sometimes they just change the name, but it's the same old story, like the birth of Jesus, which is related to the Egyptians and all the initiation that take place during that time. And it's all symbolic, even though it's not actually a real child. And in fact, when they were talking about that, there was a persecution of killing the children, Herod, at the time of Christianity, because they know he was going to be the savior of the world. Actually, it was not an actual child. It was called the infant, le infante, that they call it in the secret doctrine. They went after the adepts because the adepts were so pure and they are like the newborn again. They were called infants because they have that purity. So they were not after the baby, they went after the initiates. And they kill a lot of them. So they have to hide. Irreversible law and H.P. Blavatsky corroborations. Non-equilibrium thermodynamics, from the origin of life to the butterfly effect. In 1977, Russian chemist and philosopher Ilya Prigogine was awarded the Nobel Prize in Chemistry for his contribution to non-equilibrium thermodynamics, particularly the theory of dissipative structure. But beyond this, somehow abstract description, his theory made it at least physically possible for life on Earth to arise from a disordered mixture of private components, even as I whole objected, the probability is minuscule. The theory broke with what Prigogine saw as the determinism that have prevailed in physics from Newton to Schrödinger, and that had limited the understanding of counting phenomena in nature, especially in biology, that did not respond to the predictability directed by a system of equations. In other words, he challenged the Newton theory and won, but made a lot of enemies because, you know, There is a tendency of science being dogmatic, and the followers never want to stay away from, the ones that created first. He said irreversible processes are as real as reversible ones. Irreversible processes play a fundamental constructive role in the physical world. Irreversibility is deeply rooted in dynamics. Now, I'm making it 2 paragraphs to compare of what HPB said and what he also said. And they happen to agree or he happened to agree with what she wrote. I would say that way. So HPB Blavatsky said the law does not skip a single evolutionary state neither avoided or missed. This process is one of progression, pardon me, or cause and effect. It is the result of everything that went before. All things events have antecedents, which themselves become causes to later effects. The chain is continuous, unbroken, unbreakable, and irreversible, but it has a moral aspect wherein motive is taken into account, and it is inexorable. The consequences of an act are inherent in the act itself. Under this law, the whole process of ever becoming is beautifully and harmoniously ordered. It manifests equilibrium. If anything at any time gets out of line, it is inevitable put back to fulfill whatever purpose it has in the scheme of things. This was Blavatsky on nature. Then Ilya Prigogine said in his note, his exposition of his theory, and from being to becoming time and complexity in the physical sciences. Classical mechanics assume that strict determinism and reversibility hold throughout, while probabilism and irreversibility are forbidden, consciously adopting the terminology of essential phenomenology. Prigogine calls his naive realism and flies it under the header of the science of being. For Prigogine and co-author, philosopher, and also a chemist, have a chemistry major as well, Stengers is non-equilibrium, the source of the evolution of order. They define it as order through fluctuation. Non-equilibrium wakes molecules up and introduces a conference quite foreign to equilibrium. On the edge of order and chaos, the two codification, the orderly regime of frozen into a non-interacting and the chaotic regime that cannot be established any interaction or continuity of order, are able to implement complex regimen. Now I'm going to play a clip for Ilya Prigogine when he was receiving the Nobel Prize.
Chaos is such a misunderstood word. You see, for many people, chaos means disorder. Curiously, chaos, as studied in modern science, and many people speak of the new science of chaos, chaos is a type of order. It's a type of unstable order in which the temporal sequences are very complex. You see, our classical idea was that molecules are colliding at random, like dust particles. How would they produce coherence? And now we see that non-equilibrium can produce coherence, can produce structures, can produce very complex patterns, and which permit us to see, to understand, I would say, much better the type of structures which we see in the world around us. You need more anarchy in your terms, you see. You need more various activities, more multiple views. The metaphor of the view of the world which we have today is art. Is art in the sense that it is something which contains both laws and events. Like we see now in nonlinear systems, we come to breaking points, we have new possibilities. Before we come to the breaking points, it's more or less deterministic. When we are at the breaking points, we have many choices. We see a lot of connections. We see many unexpected things in this universe. And therefore, the best analogy, the best symbol would be a work of art, for example, a piece of music. Because if you take a piece of music, let's say some work of Bach, there are very strict rules. But at the same time, there's always something unpredictable. Even if you have heard the elements of the melody of the fugue, you are not expecting the modulations. There's always something new coming in. It is very much like a symbol of the unstable world in which we are. There are laws, of course, but there are instabilities, bifurcations. Music or sculpture is also a symbol of this time because it is, after all, a time-oriented art. Music, that's obvious. That's an organization of the time. But even sculpture, let's not forget that the beginning, probably the origin of sculpture, is to a large extent funerary sculpture. It is to speak about life after death. It is to speak about ancestors, about our relation with the gods. In a sense, you can say that sculpture is made of stone into which we incorporate a temporal signal. It is essentially like we would put time into matter. And I think this is something quite general. In fact, non-equilibrium chemistry, production of biomolecules, that's exactly that. It, in a sense, it is temporalization of matter. Science should not lead to alienation. Science should emphasize our embedding in nature. And that is, I think, the direction in which it's going.
Interesting, isn't it? What a fascinating video. I love it. Well, move on. There is an old adage or saying, as above, so below. It happened to be from the Emerald Tablet of Hermes Trismegistus on the 200 CE and 800 CE. But it's being used in the Bible and many other religion books. The one life principle, when in action, runs in circles. So even as knowing in physical science, it runs the rounding human body, where the head represents, and it is to the microcosm, the physical world of matter. What the summit of the cycle is to the microcosm, the world of universal spiritual forces. And so with the transformation of worlds and the great descending and ascending circle of necessity, all is one law. Man has his 7 principles, the germs of which he brings with him at his birth, so have the planet or the world. This is from the Mahatma letters. So as above, below. We are the microcosm of the microcosm of the microcosm. The other author that, in my opinion, sort of opened the path before the theosophical movement, including Thoreau, Emerson, and so many others. Thoreau was very tuned and very, it was an observant of nature. And he said, nature always wears the colors of the spirit. Not the summer sun or summer alone, but every hour and every season builds its tribute of the light. For Emerson, nature is not God, but the body of God's soul. Nature, he writes, is mind precipitated. Emerson feels that the fully realize one's role in this respect is to be in paradise. He ends nature with these words: every moment instructs, and every object for wisdom is infused into every form. And observation happened to be the key to the doors of nature. And all the knowledge that is being gathered by the masters of wisdom and by so many sages, it has to do with observation. If we tune in observation and respect Mother Nature, treat it, with respect, then you're going to find a lot of treasures and a lot of the doors will open, and you will find a lot of healing as well. Albert Einstein once wrote, people like us who believe in physics know that the distinction between past, present, and future is only a stubbornly persistent illusion. Time, in other words, he said, is an illusion. Many physicists since have shared this view that true reality is timeless, including Ilya. He also said time is an illusion. When his own turn came, a few weeks later, Einstein said, it is time to go, and he departed from this realm. Idealism. Critical idealism has still to learn the difference that exists between the real thing of supersensible objects and the childish subjectivity of the ideas it has reduced them to. Time is not a predicate conception and can therefore neither be proved nor analyzed according to the method of superficial philosophy. And unless we learn to counteract the negative results of that method of drawing our own conclusion agreeable to the teaching of the so-called system of pure reason, and to distinguish between the matter and the form of our knowledge of sensible objects, we can never arrive at correct, defined conclusion. Mahatma letters. Now, love. They say that the law of compassion is love and vice versa. According to the theosophical teachings, love comes into being when the mind is naturally quiet, not made quiet, but when it sees the false as false and the true as true. When the mind is quiet, then whatever happens is the action of love. It is not the action of knowledge. Knowledge is mere experience, and experience is not love. Experience cannot know love. Level of aspiration of selfish and selfish. The term universal brotherhood is not idle phrase. Humanity in the mass have a paramount claim upon us. If it be a dream, it is at least a noble one for mankind, and it is the aspiration of the true adept. Mother Teresa said, true love that causes us pain, that hurts, and just brings us joy. That is why we must pray to God and ask Him to give us the courage to love. I am a little pencil in the hand of a writing God who is sending a love letter to the world. Do you know that she also was a Nobel Peace Prize winner? Just as one candle lights another, and can light thousands of other candles. So one heart can illuminate thousands of other hearts. Tolstoy. Talking about light, I would like to talk about the Kumaras. We're going to be doing a talk, but in Spanish, in January the 4th, in observation of the Dhyani, the anniversary of the lightening of Manas. The Kumaras explain as esoteric texts, they are the Dhyanis, derived immediately from the Supreme Principle, who reappears in the Vata Manu period for the progress of mankind. In the esoteric teachings, they are the progenitors of the true spiritual self in the physical man. The higher Prajapati or lower Painati are no more than the fathers of the model or type of the physical form, made in their image. Of all the 7 divisions of the Anshohans or Devas, there is none which humanity is more concerned than with the Kumaras. The Kumaras are the solar ancestors who endow humanity with the power of Manas, mind, the thinking principle, over 18 million years ago, during the 3rd good reign of the Lemurian. Robert Crosby stated in his book, The Friendly Philosopher, quoting, when the form of man has reached the highest previous point reached, the Kumaras or real man overshadow and enter to carry the evolution feather. HPB explains that humanity, although divine in his higher, most impersonal essence, as in everything in the universe, still lacked an individual soul and was more of the nature of an animal man than a true human being. Until then, there was no reincarnation in the true sense of the word, not until individualization occurred through the lighting up of Manas before the sacrificial sin of the Kumaras. Man did not have an awakened 5th principle, the Manas, the mind. The lighting up signified the awakening of the individual mind and self-consciousness through the incoming presence of the ego or human soul. This is in transactions. The apple of Eve represents the fruit from the tree of knowledge. The individual Manasaputras or the Kumaras are the word or logos in the formation of the world, direct radiation of the divine ideation, individual in the sense of a later differentiation of the ideation owing numberless reincarnation. Mankind has always been interested in the idyllic garden of his origin, his befall from innocent, and especially how this pertains to the awakening of his power of reason and choice. The most universal myth concerns the lighting of the mind of Manas, as well as the original fall and the so-called fallen angels, who indeed help the awakening human self-consciousness. Theology have twisted and distorted all these myths and portrayed the karmic fall into matter as the fallen angels, cast out of heaven and down to earth. But in the words of HPV, the fallen agents, so-called, is humanity itself. Before medieval speculation, ancient civilization transmitted metaphorically the knowledge of the light bearers through myth. For instance, Prometheus is derived as the Titan who stole the fire from the king of heaven for mankind. The logos of Adam or Adam Kadmon of the Jewish mystics is the same prototype as the Grecian Prometheus, who revealed the art of bringing down lightning. Another archetype is the Bible Eve, who carried the blame of humanity, original sin, for tempting Adam to eat an apple from the forbidden tree of life or knowledge, as I mentioned before, at the Garden of Eden. Men were thus awakened, obtained the spark, consciousness, and became aware of good and evil. Theosophically, these two misused terms in the Adamite language used by the Gnostic, and in recent translation, showing that this means ripe and unripe. So good and evil is relative, as you know, but it also means ripe and unripe, not what we are used to listen to. The sages say that this was to the unfoldment and readiness rather than moral absolutes. The Kumaras are the divine, celibate youth who refuse to create, but they are induced by cosmic necessity to complete man by incarnated in him. HPV said that the Kumaras are ourselves. We are they. In the book of Genesis, it stated that in the early days of humanity, these sons of God took as their wife the daughters of man and their giants. HPV's Theosophical Glossary under the term Jehovah said that during the third root race, mankind, the son of God, meaning Kumaras or Manasaputras, incarnated or united with or wed themselves to the physical, material, bodily form. Subsequently, the race of man became mighty. Secret doctrine. And for right now, if this is all I can talk, it's much longer than that, but I just want to give you a little bit of, in the nutshell, an idea of that for those who are not familiar with this term. But that's the reason we honor and observe the January the 4th as the Real Occultist New Year. And now I would like to introduce Elan Matlowski, who is going to recite the poem If by Rudyard Kipling. And I would like to mention that it just happened that today is the 158th birthday anniversary of Rudyard Kipling, who was also born in India and who was awarded the Nobel Prize in Literature as the first English language writer to receive it, and at 41, being the youngest recipient to this day. And he was a humanitarian. He's famous for also the Jungle Boy and many others. And apparently was a great person. Now I will leave you with Elan Matlowski.
Thank you very much. As was mentioned, I'll be reading the poem If, which was written by Rudyard Kipling in 1895. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too. If you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, don't deal in lies, or being hated, don't give way to hating, and yet don't look too good, nor talk too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same, if you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave your life to, broken and stoop and build them up with worn out tools. If you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it on one turn of pitch and toss, and lose and start again at your beginnings and never breathe a word about your loss. If you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they are gone, and so hold on when there is nothing in you except the will which says to them, hold on. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings nor lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you, but none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it. And, which is more, you'll be a man, my son.
Lovely.
Thank
Thank you so much. Beautiful.
Thank you.
So at this point, I appreciate the cooperation and the support of all of you. I think there are a couple of friends here. I don't know who's here, but Keith, I believe, have something that he would like to share with us as well. Welcome.
Thank you, Maluka. I first want to thank you for an extraordinarily well done presentation. And it has been an honor to listen to everything you had to say and all the hard work that went into that preparation. Secondly, I want to mention, with regard to that wonderful poem by Rudyard Kipling, that there is a musical version of that poem that was done in 1971 by a singer who may still live in Vermont, lived there for many decades. His name is Bobby Gosh. So if you look up Bobbygosh, Bobby Gosh, you can hear those same words put into a beautiful musical format. Finally, I would like to say something about a presentation that is being shown right now at a presidential library. And that is a presentation at the Reagan Library in Simi Valley for those who are in the Los Angeles area. And it is a presentation on something terrible that happened in Poland during the Second World War. And that was an extermination camp in Auschwitz. This applies very much to the things that you're saying, because the failure of mankind collectively and individually to adopt the fundamental principles of the philosophy of theosophy in many ways lies behind not only what happened there, but also what we face in our own time. And I want to just hold up for a second the catalog that is at that presentation. The presentation will end at the end of January, and they've been having many sellout days. So there's one portion at the very beginning of this catalog that I would like to read from one of the people who was in that camp, and its relevance to theosophical ideas and this time of year should be manifest to everyone. And it says this: Auschwitz is outside of us, but it is all around us, in the air. The plague has died away, but the infection still lingers, and it would be foolish to deny it. Rejection of human solidarity, obtuse and cynical indifference to the suffering of others, abdication of the intellect and of moral sense to the principle of authority, and above all, at the root of everything, a sweeping tide of cowardice, a colossal cowardice, which masks itself as warring virtue, love of country, and faith in an idea. And that was written by Primo Levi, who was an Auschwitz survivor, and he wrote that in 1968. We know from studying Madame Blavatsky that she says that if mankind does not take into itself individually and collectively the awakening of Buddhi Manas, that the failure to do so will lead to self-destruction. And that's what we saw in part through those concentration camps in World War II. But the same fundamental ideas are present in much of humanity today, and it is an essential part of the work of students of theosophy to try to be that yeast in the human mixture to help us to move on to the next phase of human evolution. And again, Maluka, I want to honor you and thank you for all the work you've done in putting this together this afternoon. Namaste.
Thank you so much for the wonderful information, for your sharing. You always have wonderful things to say. You are not all, but a long time student of theosophy, and I'm very honored that you are my friend. And like I say, I have learned so much from you, and you have, given me support throughout the years. And that's what it's all about, being brothers and sisters, right? Support one another. And I would like to say that regarding of what you say, Gandhi used to say, an eye for an eye made the whole world blind. So you cannot fight evil with evil. And these useless wars, nobody wins. Nobody wins. It's all destruction. And then one leader come and the other one, goes away, the other one come, and they keep replacing people, but they don't seem to have what we need. We need philosophers. That's why Pythagoras used to have everybody who graduated from the Institute of Pythagoras were men. They're supposed to be trained, and when they finished the initiation in the school, they became governors, senators, and that was the idea. And there was a time when the gods ruled the world, but that was early in our infancy. But we lost our way. There's too much shadows, and we have to keep promoting our teachings of brotherhood, love, and compassion. Because without that, humanity will make it. But you know what? There is a HPV said that in the 1800s, we were adolescent, 18 adolescent. And then she said, by the end of the 21st century, altruism will win. See, 21, we will become adults. So we are in the transition right now of adulthood, and hopefully that will happen. And I have no doubt that it's going to be that way, because if it takes to get rid of half of the population of this planet to make there, it will be, because as you see, nothing is irreversible. So the evolution continues, and all the time evolution move one step higher, even if we don't notice, and keep higher and higher. And whoever stays behind is going to perish. Simple as that. That's my opinion anyway. Any question or more sharing or comments?
I have a question, Miluka. I'm sure there's going to be a barrage of hands that are going to come up for a minute, so I'm going to jump in there if I could.
Okay.
First of all, I echo Keith's appreciation of the brilliance and the beauty of the presentation. I detected, I think, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, a golden through line, a through line that's like a golden thread through all of these kind of diverse themes, but all circling back to irreversibility in that this chaos theory of this chemist whose name I'm not going to try and pronounce.
Ilya Prigogine.
Thank you. And about how things are constantly moving and there's no such thing as really static equilibrium, apparently. And you talked about ideals and that there's something, it seems like there's something inherently dynamic about ideals. It seems to fit in with our secret doctrine studies where we're kind of working on the through line of the idea of motion, right? And you have the great breath, and there's just inherent, cosmic electricity. There's this, the activity of law, right? And vibration and sound just moving through everything. But somehow all this translates into some kind of this idea of the Kumaras in terms of who we really are. It's not just theoretical anymore. And it's like a Kumara resolve or like a Promethean resolve, or, like when the ideals kind of hit the road and like translating, it's almost like helping nature and working on with her, doing what nature does, where we put into practice these ideals with commitment and with joy, but kind of on behalf of the whole. Anyway, that was kind of a through line that I thought that I was pulling out of what you were saying. Did I have it right, or?
Well said. Well said. Yes, absolutely. Everything what you say applies. And yeah, I think that's the direction that we're supposed to be moving, and the more we understand and make the connection, put all the dots together, and use our intuition, because one of the things that is a setback is been said by HPB and the master is the cold intellectuality. We have to be more using the heart, compassion, and intuition. She said that intuition is something very private. You don't get it in a class. You get it. That's why maybe we had the Gita and the voice of silence. It's something that comes from within, but it's only you can understand it. You're not supposed to even share it, but sometimes you want to share because you get excited. You think everybody got it too. And then they look at you like, where did it come from? But I think that's what it is. Love, compassion, and please don't think, and I'm sorry if I'm going to offend anybody here, but it's not about how many books you read. It's not about how many years you've been into theosophy that make you an adept or a great student. No, not at all. It's about how you apply what you learn, how you treat each other, the compassion, the love. And we have to stop exteriorizing. Somebody said to me one time, when you start exteriorizing and look at what all the wrong thing all the people are doing, you're neglecting yourself and you bring shadows into your heart.
Looks like you have a question. Is that Judy? I'll get my glasses on here.
Yeah, Judy. Hi, Judy.
Hi. Yes. Excellent presentation. Thank you. Just as the Nobel laureate from Russia said in the presentation about thermodynamics, nature does not go backward. And it is certainly my understanding, in answer to a question I got from a lady at the World Parliament of Religions, that reincarnation does not go backward. That once a human being, you are reborn a human being, depending, of course, on your karma and what you've earned. But you're not going to become a cat or a dog or a jackass or an elephant or something of this sort. And yet there are people like Soto Zen Buddhists. I think a great deal of them. They're very good people, very wise and deep meditators, but they believe in reincarnation in animals. And if you read Plato, who I think is allegorically talking about it, he discusses this idea. And well, it's like Nebuchadnezzar in the Bible. He becomes so gross, as in William Blake's drawing, that he's virtually animal-like. He's drawn with claws. But he's still a human being. But he has just never developed his Buddha monastic nature. So are we right in saying, in regarding reincarnation, that we will be what we have earned in our karma, but it will remain human, and eventually, as Rumi says, that we will sacrifice that soul to an angel soul, and then he says, become what no mind ever conceived. So I wonder what your take on this is.
I love everything you said, and I agree with you. Unfortunately, people are not even satisfied with the body they get. Even if the body is perfect, they want to change it. They want to alter nature. And then people also sometimes don't want to have the children for whatever reason. So they think that by aborting the person, that's the end of all, but it's not. That person still have an astral that will continue, and it's just the breaking of the laws is unbelievable. It's all the time and try to fight nature. When you fight nature, you're fighting against yourself, therefore bringing destruction to yourself as well, and slow down the progress in the scale of enlightenment.
Yes, I would agree.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Yes, we have a question from someone here in the lodge. Yeah, do you just want to just come up here? Yes, thank you very much, Baluka. You referred to the lighting up of manas and extracting the point from Judy. That makes it clear, once we have self-awareness and rationality, there is no turning back. You can't become an innocent again. Now, if you think of the analogy, being moved by something deeper, transpersonal, something like an ideal or a principle or a cause, and out of them comes the resolve that they are going to live a life according to that principle, that's a kind of irreversibility. The determination to live a life that goes beyond the personality in a sense. Now, the question I have is, since it's so easy for any of us, despite our unconditional resolves, to make mistakes, to have lapses, to step in the wrong direction, to fall, to trip, to get up, there's such a dynamism to really trying to live a life of irreversibility in terms of one's commitments. So my question then becomes this: is tremendous self-honesty critical to a person sustaining irreversibility, and to self-correction? So is courageous self-honesty critical to living a life of irreversibility?
Thank you. Wonderful comments. And absolutely. Maybe that's why nature is guiding us. Remember, observation, nature is what we have lessons to tell us. We've been guided. We don't even realize it. So many people, celebrate the solstice, celebrate the Kumara's Day. I think I'm one of the few, but I've been doing it for over 10 years. So I think it has to do with realizing that every season offers an opportunity for that growth. Even nature supply even the right food for every season, which is healing. Like you see a lot of pumpkin, a lot of yellow in the food during the fall. That's to help with your kidneys and the spleen And then during the summer, you have a lot of red food, a lot of energy, a lot of yin, and it's also to detoxify the blood. And everything in nature is they're doing the right thing. Now, you pay attention, you could take advantage and buy, food from the local markets and farmers, and then take advantage of what the message is. What is the message of this time of the season? Okay, we spoke about initiation, an opportunity to do resolutions, right? Why did we, at the end of the year, we decide to be friendly and loving and give gifts, although it become very materialistic, and we don't supposed to be chopping trees and have farms, the same thing they do with Thanksgiving. That wasn't even, it's just all commercial, and it's all not true. None of them was really true and practiced by the ancient either. So I think it's paying attention of what you did. Are you helping Mother Nature? It's giving us all the time. The rain comes, don't ask whether you are a good person or not. You get water, although I know we have to pay for electricity and water, which is not what Tesla intended, because it should be free, because it's an energy. I can understand that they can charge for, installation and stuff like that, but nature is guiding us. So this season is like quiet, slow down. In Christmas time, everything stopped almost, except the 7-Eleven and the gas station and fast food. That's three things are always open, regardless. So, but for the rest of it, it was so nice. I can find parking everywhere. It was so quiet. I don't have to deal with traffic. And everybody was flying somewhere and getting together with home. It's a brotherhood. I wish that this could extend outside our family, because the whole humanity is our real family. But okay, I think it's just like a practice. We get a family so that we learn how to love, how to be together. And then later on, as you become an initiate, that family start becoming bigger and bigger and bigger. Like Mother Teresa, she had the biggest families in the world. She was helping everybody, and she said she saw the Christ in everybody that she was healing and helping and feeding. And as you see in one of the quotes, he said she write the pen so that everybody would receive love. And I really think that, yes, we have the opportunity not to reverse anything. Although there was I think it was Oppenheimer that said the only thing irreversible is death. I mean, maybe, because I know the master can revive people after they die, so it's irreversible. And I know that there is an astral body that lingered around, so we're not completely dead, even if the physical is gone. All depends how you die, right? Anyway, so I really think that that's what it is. Take advantage of this amazing, wonderful energy that the earth and the sun and the planets are giving us right now. They say that when you make the resolution, if you concentrate and keep going with the thought that you're going to do it, we had the greatest success than any other time of the year, because you're so close to the source of life, the spiritual sun. The earth moves so close there, and you're getting all this beneficial light. That's why they do the initiation. And then you are able to get that beneficent energy. And it helps you change, it helps you to improve, and you feel more brotherly. And then the 14 days is the journey of the initiates, is from the 21st and then all the way to the 14th. That's the last of the initiation for the higher adepts. So I think we all suffer a little bit of initiation, maybe in a smaller amount, if we continue that. And this is a great opportunity to discuss this idea. I hope I didn't say too much. Thank you for your sharing.
Thank you, Miluka. You got a question from David Grossman.
Hi, David.
Hi there. Thanks, Maluka. I was just thinking of, you had mentioned Prometheus somewhere in your talk, but it seems like that Prometheus had a brother, right? Epimetheus, which means hindsight, and that seems to be where we live. I'm wondering, how can we become, or what is theosophy offer to help us become more Promethean and less Epimethean? After we botch everything up, it's not so brilliant to realize you're in a fix and try to fix it. But how do we solve these problems before they happen?
That's a tough question.
Yeah, I know.
A very tough question.
Yeah.
So I think that we stay true to ourselves. If we remember the lessons that we were taught and all the inspiring books that says that you supposed to, go into your inner journey. If the Gayatri, for instance, supposed to help us a lot, all these secret mantras that, supposed to use. It's purification, I think, more than anything else. How many people fast? When you fast, you take away that energy that you were talking about, the permissive brother, because you are not giving them food. So, like, take a day or two or a day and do fasting and meditation. Disconnect from the world because it's too much noise. I think that might be, I don't know, maybe one way to, I don't know if anybody else have an idea, but I think that's maybe one of the ways.
Yeah. One comment on that, it just came to mind. I think it was E.F. Schumacher. E.F. Schumacher, he wrote the book Small is Beautiful, Economics as If People Mattered. He made a comment once that, we only look like 40 years ahead. That's like eternity to us. So everything, in countries and the way we do things, that's about our timeline. And that's why we're in so much trouble, that's why we're so polluted. Our one lifetime is sort of what we think eternity is. So if reincarnation was really understood, maybe we would look at the way we do things differently.
Yes, it's true. And do you know what? In this talk, several of them, HPV, the masters, Ilja Prigogine, they say time is an illusion. We live in this illusion. And we think it's so real that we get locked into that, materialize and worry and busy about things. But at the end, it's all an illusion. It's created by us, like the book of the four agreements. They say that we're all dreaming the dream of the planet. How do you get out of the dream of the planet? Is my question. Anybody knows?
We have a question from Ken Campos and then Diane Martin, and then we probably should wrap up.
Okay.
Hello there, Maluka. Thank you for that
Hi.
wonderful presentation. And hearing the Gayatri mantra at the beginning was fantastic. You mentioned many different things. One of them was eating seasonal food. And I wanted to come back. It's sort of a simple question. You mentioned that there were some new Gnostic translations of some of the Old Testament Garden of Eden stories about the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and that it was really, did you say it was ripe and unripe? The good and evil? Yes, to recognize sort of what's appropriate in nature and what's not appropriate in nature. Is that really what the translation was?
That is so interesting that you made the connection with also nature, but it was actually there was a study of Aramaic, and they found out that a lot of the words that were used, they were not really right, because see, when you are, nothing is good and nothing is evil. It's just our point of view. And to say ripe and unripe is such a compassionate way to say, not everybody's ready to do certain things. I remember one time I was in a solstice with the Native American. They always celebrate every season that, they are the steward of the earth. They always very tuned with the earth. And they said there was a lady that was kind of little out of control, loud, and she looked like, people were like, don't get near me. She went and hugged her and said, don't mind her. She's just a young soul.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Diane?
Yes. I wanted to
Hi,
go back
Diana.
to David's. Hi, Maluka. I wanted to talk a little bit about what David said about how do we become more Promethean? And I don't think we can do any better than to go back to the wisdom of Krishna 5,000 years ago. And he says, to find spiritual knowledge, we have to ask questions. We have to do service. And especially we have to be humble. We have to seek humility. And there's a fourth one I can't recall right now.
Service?
But those are the service, yes. Doing service, questions, and humility. And what was the fourth one?
Humility.
A strong search.
Strong search. That's the one.
Okay, that's important. Strong. Let's not forget any of them. They're all important, especially humility. We have to know we don't know. And then we have to continually search for the answers to David's question.
I agree. Thank you for wonderful, wonderful comments. And it's true. That's one of the things. Yeah. How did we realize that we don't know anything? Socrates say that all the time. He said, I don't know. Yeah, he say that all the time. Why can't we just always say that instead of thinking that we're so smart and know so much? It's true. Humility. And he actually pointed the direction. And he never claimed to be a wise person. He went around asking questions, but the question was to steer the truth out of people so that they find it for themselves. Know that he was telling the truth. And I think maybe we could try to do that as well. Ask more questions and motivate people to find the answer within, because everybody is different. We all have similar paths, but not the same path.
Well, go ahead, Monica.
Maluka, I just wanted to say thank you for such a comprehensive, gorgeous presentation. The slides, the different worlds you inhabited over the course of your talk, just beautiful. And thank you so much.
Thank you for your kind words all, and for your support and for being here. I know that, a lot of people are traveling or have to get somewhere, and you made the effort to be here. My gratitude to all of you and to the San Diego Lodge for giving me the opportunity to express the theosophical ideas. They are not my ideas. They are theosophical ideas, and I'm trying to present it the best way I know how. And I hope some of them were helpful. and thank you so much, brothers and sisters. I hope you have a wonderful Kumara's Day on January the 4th. Don't forget to celebrate that holy season and to make those New Year's resolutions. And I'm pretty sure we're going to get there by the end of 21st century. We might be back, maybe not. But altruism will win.
That's such a strong keynote. And I just wanted to thank Shikhar Agnihotri for his full intonation of the Gayatri from India, from Adyar. And I wanted to thank Ilan Matlowski for his beautiful sounding of the Kipling poem.
Yes.
And thank you too, especially Miluka, for your strong keynote for the year and your sounding of such a powerful resolve. It's like hitting that gong that's behind you. So thank you for that.
Okay, let me do it. Let me do it.
All right,
Now
then.
we can close. Namaste, everybody. Take good care.
Namaste.
I love you.
I love you. Take good care.
Next week, we'll be having a presentation on Aquarian spirituality. And there's going to be quite a lot of very Aquarian talks throughout the year. And anybody who would like an Aquarian almanac, just reply to the invite email and put your address. And I think this most recent invite email tells what to do. It tells to put your address. If you want to send a donation to San Diego Theosophists for $15 for the cost of production, that's fine. If you can't afford it, that's fine. We'll send it to you anyway. So thank you all very much for coming. Thank you, Miluka.
And thank you, everybody, for your comments on the chat. I just saw them. Choma, and everybody. DJ. Okay, bye-bye. And Brian.
And Miluka, because giving a talk on the subject was so easy, she's going to give another talk on January 4th in another language, because that's easy too. And it'll be on very similar topics. So thank you all very much. Okay.
Thank you. Have a wonderful holidays.
All right. Bye-bye.
You as well.
Bye. Thank you.